So we're back at the boring wood job, and this was the exposed herringbone joist section that the architects drew. You can see here, you'll see it in the finished videos and in the transformation video of how that turned out. This was a very complicated detail for a number of reasons. I'll try and get to it, but essentially you can see this section in the middle, there's nothing in there, so the whole thing was self-supporting, and the distance, the projection here was about 3 meters and the distance here was 3 meters, so this was effectively a cantilever, and the weight of the strength of the joist here and here with this section, it was all supposed to tie in and hold itself together. This was the rear elevation of the house that's sitting on top to give us some weight there for the cantilever. But what made it more challenging was this section here. So the joists being set to 45 was complicated enough, but certainly at this detail here at the steel, you know, it's just a bevel at the back of the board. But if you look at a normal steel, obviously timber can't run through the steel because there's a web. And these were originally going to be steel, but this section here was just, you can see it's quite small, so there was only going to be a small piece of meat sitting in the steel, and this cantilever, which inherently wasn't particularly strong. Now, probably would have been okay for this section, but obviously the further we come out, especially to the middle, the weight of all of that timber here is incredibly strong. You can see here there's, you know, if we just had a small cantilever, it wasn't, well, it wasn't going to work. So the structural engineer didn't even bother drawing and calculating for this. So we changed these to timber lintels, and that allowed us to create everything as all the joists in one piece. And we did that by, I'll show you here if I pull that out. So if I do this, here we go. And we basically did a half lap joint so that we could keep everything continual, glue it and screw it all together to get us that strength. Cutting half lap notches in the lintels at 45 degrees was a challenge. And there was supposed to be no visible means of fixing because all of this was just going to be stained and kept natural wood. So we had to use special invisible concealed joist hangers here and here. No fixings here. This was hidden between the steel and covered up, and we put 2 layers here, so all of the screws were covered and hidden. There are some videos of us assembling this on site. But the whole reason for this detail was the architects wanted the doors, the external doors, going all the way up to the ceiling. You'll see here that in a normal opening, there's a reveal of wall, and that's because you've got the load-bearing lintel here, and obviously that's covered by the wall finishes, and you have this detail. In order to put the lintel in the ceiling, that's what complicated it. If the lintels had have been below here, then obviously the timbers would have run through. So the combination of all of those elements made this incredibly complicated detail, but in the end we pulled it off and it looked quite spectacular. So that was the herringbone joists.